Have you ever wondered about the journey of the Israelites to the Promised Land? It begins with a command from God. In the book of Numbers, the fourth book of the Hebrew Bible or Old Testament, we find the Israelites at Mount Sinai. God gives a command to Moses, the leader of the Israelites. This command to take a census of all the Israelites who are able to serve in the army. Now you might be wondering, why a census? Well, a census in those times served not just to count the people but to organize them. It was a way of preparing for what lay ahead and understanding the strength of the nation. And speaking of organization, something interesting happens during this census. The tribe of Levi is set apart. Unlike the other tribes, the Levites are not counted among the fighting men. Instead, they are given a sacred duty to serve as priests and take care of the tabernacle, the portable sanctuary where God dwelt among his people. Now let's talk numbers. The results of the census are impressive. Over 600,000 men are of fighting age. That's a sizable force, ready to protect and fight for their people on the journey to the Promised Land. But this journey is not just about numbers, it's about faith, obedience, and the relationship between God and his people. It's about the lessons learned along the way, the trials faced, and the consequences of actions. And so, with the census complete, with the Levites in their unique position, and with over 600,000 men prepared for battle, the Israelites are ready to embark on their journey. A journey filled with challenges, victories, and lessons. A journey that would take them from Mount Sinai to the edge of the Promised Land. And this, my friends, is just the beginning of the story. With over 600,000 men prepared for battle, the Israelites are ready to embark on their journey. As the Israelites begin their journey, discontentment grows among them. This is where we see the first rumblings of discontent among the Israelites. Life in the wilderness is hard, and they quickly grow tired of the hardships. It's a human response, isn't it? When life gets tough, it's all too easy to grumble and complain, to look back at what we've left behind with rose-colored glasses. In the 11th chapter of Numbers, the Israelites lament their lack of food. They're hungry, and they miss the variety they had in Egypt. They cry out, "If only we had meat to eat. We remember the fish we ate in Egypt at no cost." Also the cucumbers, melons, leeks, onions and garlic. It's in these moments of dissatisfaction that God responds with grace and provision. He sends quail and manna from heaven to feed his people. But the journey doesn't get easier from there. Throughout their travels, the Israelites face numerous challenges and trials. They encounter criticism from within their own ranks when Moses' siblings, Miriam and Aaron, question his authority because of his Cushite wife. As a result, Miriam is struck with leprosy. The Israelites also face external threats. Moses sends 12 spies to scout out the Promised Land, but the report they bring back is not encouraging. 10 of the spies speak of giants and fortified cities, causing fear and doubt to spread among the people. Only Caleb and Joshua stand firm in their faith, trusting that God will deliver them into the land he has promised. Throughout these trials, the Israelites grumble and complain, yet God remains patient and faithful. He continues to provide for their needs, guiding them with a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. Even in their disobedience, God's provision remains steadfast. Despite their grumbling and complaints, God continues to provide for his people. The book of Numbers serves as a stark reminder that even in the midst of hardship and trials, God's faithfulness never wavers, even when ours does. In a crucial moment, Moses sends 12 spies to scout out the Promised Land. These weren't your typical cloak and dagger spies. They were leaders, one from each of the 12 tribes of Israel, chosen for this pivotal mission. Their task was not one of subterfuge or sabotage, but of exploration and evaluation. They were to bring back a report of the land that God had promised them. For 40 days, they traversed the land from the wilderness of Zin to Rehob. They witnessed its bounty, its fruits, and its people. And when they returned, they carried with them a single cluster of grapes, so large it had to be carried on a pole between two men, a testament to the land flowing with milk and honey. But their report was not one of hope and promise. 10 of the spies painted a picture of a land filled with giants and fortified cities. They spread fear and doubt among the people, overshadowing the promise of God with their perceived impossibilities. They saw themselves as grasshoppers compared to the inhabitants of the land, and they believed that the inhabitants saw them the same way. Yet, amidst the rising tide of fear and doubt, two voices stood firm. Caleb and Joshua, the spies from the tribes of Judah and Ephraim, did not waver in their faith. They urged the people to seize the land, for they were confident that God would lead them to victory. But their words fell on fearful ears. The people were swayed more by the fearful report of the 10 spies than by the faith-filled encouragement of Caleb and Joshua. Fear has taken hold of the people. Only Caleb and Joshua stand firm in their faith. This pivotal moment in the journey of the Israelites serves as a stark reminder of the power of perspective and the importance of faith, even when the odds seem insurmountable. Opening, the Israelites' lack of faith has severe consequences. As the Israelites journeyed towards the Promised Land, their pathway was not without obstacles. The road was marked with trials that tested their faith and trust in God. Yet, the magnified fear of the unknown and the reports of formidable foes in the land they were promised caused them to falter. Their faith wavered, and doubt began to cloud their vision. God, in his infinite wisdom and justice, was not blind to their lack of faith. He saw the doubt that was festering within the hearts of the Israelites. This faithlessness, this lack of trust in his promise, was met with a divine decree. The Israelites were condemned to wander aimlessly in the wilderness for 40 long years, until the generation that doubted his promise had passed away. The consequences of their doubt were severe, but they were not without reason. The punishment was a mirror of their faithlessness, a reflection of their doubt. It was a stern reminder of the importance of faith and trust in God's promises. In their desperation, the Israelites attempted to take matters into their own hands. They tried to enter the Promised Land on their own, despite God's decree, but their efforts were futile. Their rebellion resulted in defeat at the hands of the Amalekites and Canaanites. Their lack of faith had led them not to the land flowing with milk and honey they were promised, but to defeat and 40 years of wandering. The book of Numbers serves as a poignant reminder of the consequences of doubt and disobedience. It underscores the importance of faith in God's promises and the dire consequences of its absence. It paints a vivid picture of a people who let fear and doubt overshadow their faith and the severe consequences they faced as a result. Closing. Their lack of faith has led to defeat and 40 years of wandering. Despite their disobedience, God remains faithful to the Israelites. As they traverse the wilderness, he guides them with a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night, a visible assurance of his presence and protection. When their spirits flag and their stomachs grumble, God sends quail and manna from heaven, ensuring they never go hungry. But their journey isn't without trials. They face obstacles and challenges that test their mettle and their faith. Among these trials, the most significant is perhaps their own lack of trust in God's promises. Despite witnessing his miracles and provisions, they falter, gripped by fear and doubt. In a striking episode, Moses, their leader, disobeys God's command. In Numbers 20, the Israelites find themselves without water, and they complain bitterly. In response, God instructs Moses to speak to a rock and bring forth water. But Moses, frustrated by the constant grumbling of the people, strikes the rock instead. Water gushes forth, quenching the thirst of the people, but this act of disobedience comes at a high cost. Moses, the one who has led them out of Egypt and through the wilderness, is barred from entering the Promised Land himself. This is a poignant reminder of the consequences of disobedience, even for a man as faithful as Moses. But it also underscores the faithfulness of God. Despite Moses' disobedience, God continues to provide for his people. The water from the rock is a testament to his unending provision. As the book of Numbers draws to a close, we see the Israelites on the brink of entering the Promised Land. Led by Joshua and Caleb, the only two survivors of the faithless generation. Doubts, fears, and disobedience have marked their journey, but so too have God's faithfulness and provision. Even in their disobedience, God's faithfulness shines through. His provision is a constant, a beacon of hope amidst the trials of the wilderness. It's a reminder that even when we falter, God's faithfulness remains. This video was made possible by Michael Hopkins, founder of Jehovah's House of Saints Homeless Mission. For more inspiring stories and messages, visit us at jehovahsaint.com.